This one's called I'm Sick. I'm sick from seeing the slaughter. I'm sick from skipping meals because I can't afford to when I work so hard that I really ought to. This one's called I'm sick from tales of kidnapped daughters, from complicit news reporters. I'm sick from starvation of wisdom in an education system training victims of the economic prison. I'm sick from battling the rent. If I'm beat, I end up on the street in a tent. I'm sick from divide and rule, wealthy drool, taking us for a fool, hoping you'll defend the nation against immigration. I'm sick from their hands in my pocket, the pursuit of profit at any expense, take your last couple of pence. I'm sick from the gruel as they break all their rules, champagne and caviar by the pool whilst they treat us like mules. I'm sick from not being enough, so I keep buying stuff, advertising, capitalising on insecurity, shaping me into anything except free. I'm sick from the downward slope of endless growth, keeping the modern slave boats afloat. I'm sick from the dark agendas of sex offenders, hidden in pop songs so we all sing along. I'm sick from swimming upstream against affluent dreams, unwilling to plot and scheme for the cream while wanting to scream. I'm sick from the job centre plus and all that stuff. On hold so long you turn to dust. I'm sick from the war, all the back and forth, for I'm privileged boor who wouldn't fight if they saw someone stabbing their ma. I'm sick from the technology bringing us to our knees, bowed before their theo-fascist oligarchy. I'm sick from the species deaf, keep living like this, we'll be the only species left. I'm sick from the lies, the crimes used as bribes, the staged suicides. I'm sick from the medicine you said I'd get better in. I know that's amphetamine. I'm sick from the advice, everything's legal at a price, said like it's wise by the guy who deployed ICE. I'm sick from the pace of this capitalist disgrace. I'm sick from not bursting the spot, the rot that sits at the top and won't stop till we cut it off. We forget, we forgot. We do all the jobs which prop up this lot. Time to close the shop and grow a new crop. I'm not sick as I reach for what's real. Truth not known, a truth that I feel, a truth that heals.
By the powers vested in me by the Federal Communications Commission, I command you to get on the microphone in a serious manner and continue this broadcast.
Morning.
Live and direct, live and a date, no time.
Welcome to What the X.
It's time you settle down and try to concentrate.
How are we all this morning? Morning to you. Bright and fresh on a Saturday morning, Mr. Ross.
So if you want to be in that,
Who's actually participating? Johnny C1902 reposted the stream. That's what I like to see. Thanks, Johnny. Don't let Johnny be the only one. Johnny, I'm sorry. Won't you come on home? How's those tunnels? Arpagnon, morning to you. Macapella, how are you?
If you want
Morning,
to
Bob.
live
It's Stacey.
an
Right hand.
independent life.
Morning to you, Madame Guy. Well, welcome to the end of the world. It's all a bit mental, isn't it? There's lots to get through. We'll do our best to get through it, but we'll get through it together. That's sort of the point, isn't it? What was it Kit Kats used to always call us? The what collective was it again? The disorganised collective, was that kind? Bit early. Have I got... Thanks for letting me know I've got crumbs on my face. Cheers. What's top of the pops? There they are. I don't care who they are, but they're there anyway. How did I get this thing? We'll find out. We'll find out in the Agendalist Collective. That's right. That's us. Welcome to the Agendalist Collective. Right. So I had an interesting morning this morning. First thing I woke up. You know that guy, James English? Macapella, I have been saying for a while, but I think he wears a... Who wears a hairpiece? Who's that? Starbuck? Just give us a second, right? Plenty of time. Just slink on in.
Live and direct.
You see it there?
Live and a date, no jive.
We're on a ramp. What am I trying to do here? Oh, that's right. Just call me Bobby Two Phones, eh? Just call me Bobby Two Phones. I want to find this thing. So, where is it? Right, here we go. Right, I've got my... Yes, Selassie, okay. That coffee and more expensive than here in Denmark. You're not joking. Right, you can join us live if you're on the old X. Get it reposted, right? And who's on the X? There seems to be no cats on the X today. What's going on with that? Didn't get me paranoid. A lot of cats catch up, clearly. I know, Julian, watch you later, eh? I'll skip through it and see what the silly cunt's saying. I never swore there. You just thought that I did. There was no swearing. So James English, right? I said, like, James English posted what I consider to be a racist meme. And people might not think it's racist because, you know, we're living in a climate of abject barbarity and social decay. But James English has got like 500,000 followers or something. And the other thing about him is he likes to present himself as some kind of worldly, sagacious, worldly wise guy, you know? Like a serious person who's concerned about the social ills of the world. And he posted a hold on a minute, I'll move over here. Oh, what have I done? I'll get it now. He posted a racist meme about Michelle Obama, you know, inferring that Michelle Obama is a man. Puerile. Many would say puerile. But personally, I think that you've got a responsibility.
Don't think about me, I'm alright.
So, I woke up this morning. Comedian Mark Black has a whole show parodying James. It's outstanding. Mark Black is a sound guy, a very funny guy. I would go so far as to call, I don't care him that well, but I'd call him a mate, like, you know, because I'm always happy to see him. It's very funny. It's a little bit loud for me here. Yeah, so what happened was this, right? So I put, I do. So last night, James English posted this post, right? Here it is here, right? So James English posts this, and folk might think that anybody who understands, it's a kind of basic racial the racial inference is there. Just why YouTube it can't post the links and shit. YouTube what? What is this? You're talking amongst yourselves. I thought you were talking to me. Anyway, I woke up this morning and English posted, had DM'd me, and I found it a bit insulting. I was like, I didn't follow James English on Instagram. So why is it alright for him to DM me? So James English sent this to me this morning in my DMs. Stop hating Four Eyes. That hurt me, like, you know. I'm not, it's a dull one. I know what you're about and what you're hiding, you little creep. Do enlighten me, Monsieur English, Bonnie Prince Bob. Gay! And then I replied, underneath, as you can see there. But then I thought, well, what's he going to say? I look forward to this private exchange. I was like, what's he going to tell me? Just enlighten me about myself. And then I see here that he blocked me because it now just says Instagram user. And I was like, well, what a pussyhole you are. So you saw it here. What the X? James English is a shite bag, right? Who likes to slide in. He's calling me, what do they call me? A creep. He's the fucking weirdo sliding into my DMs. You know what I mean? What you doing sliding into my DMs? And how come somebody that's like can come at your DMs when you didn't follow them and it doesn't say, or like, you know what I mean? So there you go. You've rattled his cage. Of course that's not. Thanks for that, Stacey. But the fact is that he's a moron, obviously, you know. So that was this morning's drama. But I have to say, I was like, what are you blocking me for? Like, you know, why? Sort of like, you want to come into my DMs? He left some messages as well on my posts and then deleted them as well. So anyway, back to more pressing matters. We've been here for a full 15 minutes already, or more. I'll be back in just a few moments, right? Didn't go anywhere, right?
Ho posato una mano sul tronco di un albero e se io avessi avuto il tempo di vita dell'albero, l'albero sarebbe cresciuto considerando la mia mano. Invece il mio contatto era fugace. Ho sostituito la mia mano con un calco della mano che ho adattato all'albero e l'albero è cresciuto nel tempo. Quindi quello che avveniva come azione di scultura, prendendo un pezzo di creta, lasciando l'impronta della mano nella creta, in questo caso avveniva nel tempo ed era l'albero come materia fluida, plasmabile, che si plasmava attorno alla mano.
All right, me and your daddy give you this right here for Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Oh, no, you didn't.
Yes, that's a 20 gauge automatic. Look here.
Yeah, watch out.
Look at it. And how you do this.
The art world is basically a commerce establishment. Perfect example is that there were many signers or graffiti artists working in the late 70s and in the early 80s. Why should it be that only 2 or 3 of them, Schaff, Haring, Basquiat, elevated to a point that there was something particularly special about those 3 guys? It behoves the art establishment to elevate them to a higher plateau as fast as possible, to make them unavailable aesthetically to a low art market. Consign the idea of art to a particular world. It's fundamental to keep an established art world, that the mystery is kept in place, because once it falls into the hands of a proletariat, that the ability to make art is in fact inherent with all of us, it demolishes the idea of art for commerce, and that's no good for business.
Listen, look. You're walking a 95, I would get some graft at the end of the week. Shit that you seen in the BBC, I seen that shit at the end of the street. Loving my movie, sitting in a scheme where I ain't no friends, no settling beef, no letting it rest, put metal and cheeks, just money and beef like delicate meats. I was sitting in Jack, spitting bottles of Jack and patching the phone for Mumsy, wondering what I'd been up to. Came home stinking of hash and bucky. I was chilling at backs while hanging about flats while sat around rats and junkies. White those asking cups are they comfy? No, I'm sitting at the tap, comfy. No, I'm sitting at the tap, it's lovely. Love me the Aki, love me the Bobry.
Ideas are the #1 best thing going, and ideas come to us. We don't really create an idea, we just catch them like fish. No chef ever takes credit for making the fish. It's just preparing the fish. So you get an idea and it is like a seed, and in your mind the idea is seen and felt, and it explodes like it's got electricity and light connected to it, and it has all the images and the feeling, and it's like in an instant you know the idea. In an instant.
In the street, they call it murder.
Jam down, poor people are dead at random. Political violence can't done. Pure ghosts and phantom. The youth them.
Granny, what did you do to stop the fascists in 2026 since you had $1 billion and 400 million followers?
I was in the middle of a very important rollout for a very important album, so how could I say a word? I had to protect the brand, you know, and of course, your fortune.
Guess who? The J-U-R-A-S-S-I-C. Where? In the place to be. It don't stop. We got the rhythm that makes your fingers snap. Crackle, pop, pop, fizz, fizz. We're known to give a show plus handle our business. Stress, stress, we destroy. We're known to make noises. We original B-boys. In the flesh, created to the death. Creates the ill scenes when we manifest. Yes, I feel the vibe. I feel the vibe too. Cause it's the butter from the crew. Cause we original who? Wanna tussle, flex vocal muscle. While we kick the style that busts your blood vessels. With the rhythm, the 96 stylism. Pick up and fill 'em, kill 'em with your vocalism.
I shoot the gift, I'm planning the bow split. Vocals are coming thicker than an post with malignant metaphors and ganja state nerves. We conjugate verbs and constipate nerves like you. I'm here to end a conspiracy fearlessly, so you can really see the real MCs at hand. I'm tuna fish on the stick shift, the eclectic, hectic, desperate to set trip.
Right, I'm back. So James English is a shite bag, and nothing that we probably couldn't have already figured out. John Cowan says English must be back on the gear. The Davy Weir. Right. What's going on here? No Wilson needs responses. What's the answer for the Scots? There must be someone with decency to stand up and fight. And you know what that man or woman is working class decency. True. We need to find this man or woman. Right. Okay. Let's try and delve into the matters concerning the world. Dissident media. Since we now apparently live in a reality where the most bizarre possibility is what is real, we have to inform you that Jeffrey Epstein's Fortnite account is live and active in Israel multiple times in the last year alone. Is Jeffrey Epstein still alive? There's a photo. Is he still alive? There's a photo online, and people say it's AI. It looks a bit AI to me, but there was the Reddit thing where the guy that was supposedly worked in the prison that posted at the same time, and he said they switched him out. I'm shaking right now. That's what he says. Guys, I'm shaking. RN. Right, so here's his little St. Jeff. Fucking. Major nonce vibes going on, eh? Rupert Murdoch. This is a thread, is it? What's going to happen? Is Mandelson going to be the catalyst for Starmer? Jeffrey is still alive and playing Fortnite. Still trying to lure Burns on Fortnite, like, you know. So do we think that the madness of it all is going to result in, is this the catalyst for Starmer falling? Jodie McIntyre says, this man is on the brink of bringing down the Starmer administration. But did you know that Peter Mandelson once instructed the Israeli government to listen more to the IDF? This is what the media are choosing not to tell you. Well, amongst many other things, no doubt. In January 2024, politicians from 22 European countries travelled to meet with Israeli President and genocidaire Isaac Herzog and Peter Lerner, a commander of IDF social media activities. The delegation was led by the Prince of Darkness, Epstein informant Peter Mandelson. They never went away, did they? Blair's neoliberal assault. When he stood at the door of 10 Downing Street and he said education, education, education. We know what he meant, or it wasn't Downing Street. That was it. It was at the conference. He meant get your get your futures traders involved in this. Get your hedge funds involved in education, because we're going to rinse it for every penny that we can. So Mandelson. Newly leaked emails indicate that Israeli President Herzog almost certainly visited the notorious Epstein Island in 2014. The messages are an exchange between Epstein and Melanie Spinella, an assistant to billionaire Leon Black, who was a major funder of Herzog's campaigns. Hey, we're going to the island. The Mandelson-led delegation were taken to Kfar Afsa, a kibbutz in the south of occupied Palestine. They were just 200 kilometres away from Sarid, the kibbutz that Mandelson's protege Morgan McSweeney stayed in before joining the Labour Party. It stinks to high heaven, doesn't it? Like, you know, it's like, are these things? It's all a bit obvious, isn't it? This notion to well, here's Lammy. Mandelson's group of European politicians also met with Gideon Saar, who became Israeli foreign minister just months after the visit. Last April, Saar held off the books meeting in London. Held an off-the-books meeting in London with the then Labour Foreign Minister David Lammy. But this wasn't the first time Peter Mandelson had met with Israeli government officials. In 2005, Mandelson, then acting as EU Trade Commissioner, travelled to the settler state to meet with the Israeli Finance Minister. That Finance Minister was Benjamin Netanyahu. Rupert Murdoch is a close friend plus suspected funder of Netanyahu. In 2023, Peter Mandelson stated that under the Blair administration, upsetting Rupert was definitely a no-go area. Last year, Mandelson protege Morgan McSweeney sat next to Murdoch at the Trump state dinner.
Good boy, and gun boy. Quality.
The Epstein files contain financial documents proving that Jeffrey Epstein funded the Israeli military through friends of the IDF charity. He also funded the largest settlement building body in Palestine, the JNF. Bloody Ruskies, yes, says Jason. Aye. The question is what we're going to do about it. I like how the political class are now kind of pointing fingers and distancing themselves from everybody involved, but that's all that the political class do. You have to remember they're all the same. Even the SNP, you know. John Swinney just a short time ago was enjoying a cosy evening at Mandelson's Washington residence, wasn't he? And now he wants to distance himself. Now it's like, oh, this is, you know, and even Sarwar, you know, they're putting the boot into to Starmer, you know, because they sense this is getting murky, you know. I quite like this. Brian Spanner, Gary Gardner, whoever that is. Imagine Brian Spanner being wide enough to tell me that this is the first decent thing I'd posted in months. Cunt's never posted anything decent in his entire existence. But Gary Gardner got a rise out of him. I don't know why. Have you molested any more young lassies? But this guy replying, that's suspicious. It's like, that's a bite, innit? It raises my suspicions as to the true identity. The true identity of Brian Spann. Everyone says it's McComb. Is it McComb? Is this McComb? We don't know. I don't know. People say it is, though. I'd need to put my loop back on to hear this just now. In fact, let's have a listen to what old Georgie boy's saying. Excuse a sec. Right, let's have a listen to what George is saying about Starmer.
They die in prison. Peter Mandelson will undoubtedly go to prison. Mandelson may die in prison. The charges of influence peddling, of treason, of multiple breaches of the Official Secrets Act, of payola, of leaking state secrets and government information for money. Peter Mandelson may die in prison, but he will not commit suicide. If Peter Mandelson is found dead, trust me, he did not commit suicide. So big was the feeling amongst all these hypocrites in Parliament who beamed so warmly at Peter Mandelson over so many decades. Now they're shocked, they tell you, horrified, they tell you, to discover that Peter Mandelson, the man known since the 1980s as the Prince of Darkness, was indeed the Prince of Darkness. But they made it clear to the government that they would not be supporting Keir Starmer's efforts to suppress these documents. And so now all correspondence between Mandelson and Keir Starmer and advisors, as they debated the pros and cons of appointing, I'm not making this up, a man who received, together with his boyfriend, then husband, he received £100,000 in cash from Jeffrey Epstein. He received untold amounts in hospitality, flights, accommodation, designer belts, clothes, who knows, even underpants. Over decades, Peter Mandelson, who phoned Jeffrey Epstein in prison, who called Jeffrey Epstein and said, when is Liberation Day? Liberation Day! Not of Auschwitz, but of the release from prison of a convicted child sex trafficker. How shall we celebrate it?
It doesn't look
says
good.
Peter Mandelson. And Epstein replies with a couple of strippers, although I'm not sure Mandy fully grasped that point.
Well, you can understand why Galloway is just like loving it right now, you know. It's like, you know, the weirdest thing is, you know, it's the over the last few years, the amount of shit that I've taken off folk, like, you know, I mean, for maybe just leave like just even mentioning Galloway, you know, in the passing or whatever, and I've taken dog's abuse from Liberals, and as every day passes, you know, Galloway becomes more like Abraham Lincoln or something, do you know what I mean? Or like Atticus Finch or something, you know what I mean? Like some great character, some great individual of moral integrity and fibre, you know? So I think it's interesting. I think George Galloway, you know, I said we deserved to, you know, like, but we tried to do a wee show on him a few weeks ago, whatever, at the end of the year there. We mentioned him, and we did a wee thing about him, didn't we? We looked into what was going on, and he doesn't. I think more. We need to be thinking. I mean, he's a great orator, right? You know, he's just ripped him an arsehole, a new arsehole there, you know. And he also, you know, I don't think I think his speech at the Senate needs to be given more respect again, just for where we're at, for the complete bankruptcy of the political class. I think, you know, he's on fine form, you know, and he's no spring chicken, you know what I mean, and he's just got some incredible engine. So like I am now actually declaring my great respect for where George Galloway's managed to position himself over this last period, like, you know. For all the things you want to criticise him about, and I love how the Liberals, the Liberals, what have they got in their box? What are they able to offer here? You know, many of these sanctimonious Liberals are the same people who have actually installed this parasitic neoliberal Labour government into power. You know, rather than actually going, what are we going to do? We're in a complete crisis. We're in this horrific stage, because they all like to think that they're more educated and informed than everybody else. You know. And they're the ones that have served us up with this bankrupt administration. Beldam says, you can tell Galloway cut his teeth as an orator with a megaphone in his hand. He's a rogue and a fraudster, but compared to the rest of them, that's the least of his crimes. You know, it's true. Bojoz McGlinty, I love the guy. Don't agree with him on everything, so fuck. He uses his tongue prettier than a $20 whore. What a great compliment. I will be back shortly.
Socialism doesn't work.
If Netanyahu tells you socialism doesn't work and capitalism does, you already know which side you should be on.
You know, I reformed the Israeli economy. It wasn't quite socialist, but it was semi-socialist, and it was hitting rock bottom. So I introduced something called free markets, or as it's commonly known, capitalism. So socialism doesn't work. It's a good line that brings you right deep into into a hole, and you have to. It's very hard to dig out from under.
Cultural revolution is eat the rich. I know in Western media they tell you how brutal, how evil that is. Cultural revolution started by Chairman Mao. But I want to tell you, one day your working class want to throw over the ruling class. You can call them Zionists or billionaires, whatever name tag works for you. You also need to eat the rich. That's exactly what you need to do for the working class. Take over the power from the billionaires or Zionists. So what we have today in China, we thank for Chairman Mao. So the cultural revolution is absolutely needed. And one day you guys gonna need it too. Eat the rich. It is their karma.
Artificial intelligence. Smoke high grade and drink Hennessy. Business we are pre-war them a meds we learn investment from Auntie Peggy. Artificial intelligence. Smoke high grade and drink Hennessy. Business we are pre-war them a meds we learn investment from Auntie Peggy.
Anyone remember when Israel murdered the entire Al Jazeera press crew in their tent outside Al Shifa Hospital, August 10th, 2025? And y'all just kept on going.
The chaos on this planet is due to the music that musicians are playing, that they're forced to play by some who just think of money and don't realize that music is a spiritual language and it represents the people of Earth. When musicians are compelled to play anything, it goes straight to the throne of the Creator of the universe, and that is how He sees you, according to your music. Because, see, music is a universal language, and what you cause musicians to play, it's what goes to the Creator as your personal ambassador and your personal nemesis.
Personally, he's been horrible and abusive to me and my pals in the past, but he's do good just now because everyone is so awful. And I secretly love him now. Fair enough. So this is an interesting one. Noam Chomsky, or Chom Nonsky, Chod Nonsky, as somebody said on Instagram. Here's an interesting. Where's that? James English is in the Epstein files. Hold on a second. We'll try and tweet him then. Give me a wee second. How do I... Is it that one? It's this one. Hold on a minute, what do I do? Oh. Sorry, a wee bit technical. Right, let's find out, shall we? I've put it to the public tribunal. Give that a retweet or a repost if you can. See if we can get the famous podcasters a response from the famous podcaster. James wishes he was on the Epstein files. What a weirdo though, eh? You know what I mean? Just own it. Just own it, you fucking moron. This is a dub mix. I had to ken what this tune is. Do you ken what it is? It's on the telly. Right. So what's happening? Do we think is Starmer going to fall as a result of this and as a result of Mandelson? And what are we going to do about it as a society? You know something, right? I mean, let's get serious about it for a second. You know, there was something that John White made a really good post yesterday. Have you subscribed to the YouTube channel? Do you follow us on the relevant socials?
Suddenly I found
Welcome to What the X.
things I heard before.
Here, this is what John White said, which is very correct. He said, it really says something that Starmer's crisis is connected to the sexual perversions of the rich and the powerful, rather than providing material support for genocide in our time. Sexual relations with minors is rightly deemed unforgivable, but blow them up and it's business as usual in the corridors of power at Westminster. What's wrong with these people? Evil. And it's true, you know. A friend of mine was messaging me last night and they were sort of saying, you know, this is a kind of honey trap distraction. Release all these files and everything. There's other stuff going on. And you do kind of think, yeah, well that is how things seem to be at present as well. My instinct would be, you know, the Epstein files don't necessarily make money, but war does. And it seems, you know, that the more that we look at this, you know, are we looking at the collapse of the West? We talk about this. It seems that that's the case. But there's just a sense of impotent rage, isn't there? There's no sense that we can do anything about it, and that the same political class will then sort of proffer how they're going to provide the solution to clear up this mess, and reinstall faith in politics. You know. You can't. How can you reinstall something that never particularly existed? Really, you know. I like this. This is a good point. You know, the Sir in Starmer's name tells us all we need to know. So something that I found, you know, obviously there's so many people There's so many people going through the documents and finding so many things, right? But you might have seen that image. The one that disturbs me, I mean, there's so many images, right? But the one that disturbs me is that one in like the silver plate, and it's like he's got like some young girl who's clearly, you know, like a 5 or 6 year old girl or something, you know, and he's kind of cavorting with this young girl. And it's framed in this silver plate. And there seems to be all these other pictures where there's like really young kids about and stuff, you know. And as far as we know, Epstein wasn't a father, you know, it's not his kid. And you're kind of going like, how dark can this get? You know, how insanely dark can this get? That this guy seemed to have been completely and utterly so powerful in his wealth and his influence that those that were drawn to his company just didn't even like bat an eyelid about the fact that he was a sort of mental Savile on steroids, you know. I think that image for me is the one that's the one that I was like, man, there's so much darkness there, you know. And then you've got the other thing going on about the adrenochrome stuff, and people are like, David Icke has been vindicated, you know, like for all the years that Icke kind of was like castigated for being a fucking conspiracy nut and that, you know. It's true, you know. It's like, where are we with this? And I think this is a really important question. This is the question in everybody's mind. This is the question. This is like a sort of global question of whose children were they? Who are those children, and where are they? And like that is the thing, isn't it? It's like, who are these kids? Why were they on this island with these paedophiles, these freaks? You know, obviously the sort of the dark sort of conclusion is somewhat disturbingly evident, you know. But like, who were these kids, and why? Who were these kids, and why were they there, and why so many? You know, even the fact that they were taking so many photos and stuff. It seems to me that there's sort of like debased decadence of such grand amounts of capital, and just a sense of just barbaric entitlement, you know. Their perversions seem to have slipped into some new sort of realm of deviance. They are buried on Trump golf courses, Cap. Maybe that's why that Stuart Campbell guy was so annoyed about about Trump's place getting like mashed up by the pro-Palestine supporters, you know. Let's have a little listen to it's ritualistic, says Beldam. It does feel like that, you know. It's I think there's a part of us, all of us, where we want to enter into a state of some sort of disbelief, denial even, for ourselves, to actually accept that people are that disturbingly perverted and disgusting. But I think that degree of money and power and, you know, the implications of where that money comes from on some level, I think that we have to realise that so much of this is about the military-industrial complex. You know, it's about sections of capital that are involved at the sort of the vanguard of human liquidation, you know. Imperialism, you know, creating new markets, by expanding markets, by basically ethnic cleansing and whatnot, you know. That's the sort of capital in its rawest form. We've spoken about this, or I've spoken about this in the past here, you know. Let's listen to what Doctor of Pop Culture's got to say. This is an account that I follow on Instagram. She's got a great take on things. Let's have a quick listen to see what the Doctor of Pop Culture has got to say.
I have been thinking about what is causing the fascination of the common public with the Epstein files. And the public's obsession with the files is a spiritual hunger, right? To confront the gods of capital who feed on the living. So privacy is a luxury good. The worker is constantly surveilled, right? Their data is mined, their productivity is tracked, their movements are watched, right? But the oligarch is granted the sacred right of redaction. Black bars covering the names in the Epstein files are not, I don't think, are just like legal mechanisms. They are the walls of the castle. They signify that the elite exist in a realm above the scrutiny of the masses. If the public were to see the full list, to see that the great men of politics, science and finance were complicit in the commodification of children and women, the divine right of capital would shatter, right? The redaction is the veil. Marx had said something very interesting. He had said that capital is dead labor, which vampire-like lives only by sucking living labor. Like the Epstein case is a little materialization of this metaphor. In a hyper-capitalist spiritual framework, everything is a commodity, even the human soul. The bodies of young women were reduced to currency, traded among the global elite to cement alliances. This mirrors the ancient worship of Moloch, the god who demanded the sacrifice of children to ensure the prosperity of the city. And I feel the interest in these files stem from a collective subconscious realization that our current economic order is sacrificial in nature. The ruling class sort of extracts life energy, right? Labor, time, and in this case, bodies from the vulnerable to sustain their own immortality and pleasure. I really don't think it's just simply voyeurism as to why we are so obsessed with these files. I think it is a yearning for apocalypse. And I'm talking about apocalypse in its Greek meaning, which is called the final unveiling. I really feel that if divine intervention is absent, the public looks to the files as a substitute for the last judgment, right? Like we want the book of life to be opened and the sinners to be named. It is sort of a spiritual demand for retributive justice against a class that has operated with immunity and impunity. Capitalist ideology tells us that if we work hard, we can be like them, right? But the Epstein files threaten to break this spell by revealing that being like them requires a surrender of humanity. We are seeking the unredacted truth because we just don't want to know who was there, right? Of course, we do, but there is also another confirmation that we need. We need that the accumulation of infinite wealth requires the absolute degradation of the human spirit.
I'm done trying to help you. I can't be your friend. Keep going round in circles and going round again. Turn myself inside out, trying to find common ground. Need some words to be inflammatory to burn your country down. Your protocols don't scare me. Always drinking blood. Human eradication, your idea of fun. Retreat to your linguistic ghetto. Retreat to your revisionist mind. Maybe once the dust has settled, you'll have to own your crimes. Pogrom's a viral word, so arcane and quaint. Since it's been disinterred, what it was is what it ain't. Gonna have a pogrom, gonna have a lynching, Jew haters everywhere. Coming with blood libels, says it in the Bible, it's the promised land. In the neighborhood. Oh, in the neighborhood, when the neighborhood bully needs taking down. How could a hero of mine write a song like that? A song like that? How could a hero of mine be so ignorant?
I might wound that back a bit by mistake. Great analysis. Oofed. She's brilliant. Aye, she is good. Who was that, Bob? Well, I'll tell you. She changed her name. Because she's obviously a bit of a character. So what happens is, right, if you download a video from Instagram or something that you see, normally it watermarks it. So, you know, we will update our credits, but often the credits for who says things on What the X is on the video itself. And young folk in that, they get that. But occasionally, you can't download, so you have to download it somewhere else without the watermark. And I put it up on Discontent the other day there, and I was like, I knew it never had the watermark on it, and I was like, oh, but I'll put it on the stream, and I'll credit her properly there. And then Beldam goes like, she's amazing, who's that? And then I posted her on Instagram, and look who pops up, the Scarlet Pimpernel. But the thing is that Bella Caledonia had this account blocked, right? So Mike has unblocked my Bella Caledonia account. He actually unblocked it the other day so he could comment on the thing I said about wings, right? And then he comes with this good creditor. Well, what are you all about, like? I says, what, you, the content, please? Did they reply? Nah, the farmer. It's like, what are you all about? What do you mean, good to creditor? Who are you, like? What you said? You want to come into my online space? You want to unblock me to come in and leave some comments in my online space? These liberals, man. Right, anyway. Good to credit her. Good to credit her, Bob. You didn't credit her. No bother, Michael. Well, we did credit her, right? And in the time that we credited her, she changed her name to something else, right? So what? What does that tell you? Tells you something. Still no response from James English. What's Hoz saying?
Mossad and Israel rather than Russia. I am curious that I haven't yet heard an MP raise Israel, although it does crop up a lot in the Epstein files, and some people. I am curious that I haven't yet heard an MP raise Israel, although it does crop up a lot in the Epstein files, and some people online have floated the theory that Epstein was actually getting his money from Mossad and Israel rather than Russia. What we've seen thus far. I'm not whitewashing this, but because I was interested in the suggestion, I've looked into it, and what we've seen thus far is more just that Jeffrey Epstein was one of those people who was a cheerleader for Israel in the United States, probably helped connect people and to raise money for it. I don't think there's anything definitive in it yet which suggests that he was in some way in cahoots with the Israeli government. Yes. Nonetheless, it will feed a lot of...
What are we going to do about it? Yep. When the disgraced Starmer is eventually forced out of number 10, he should be put on a plane straight to The Hague. This is a spy plane he sent over Gaza on the 28th of July 2025 to collect intelligence for the Israeli military in real time. Starmer ordered British participation in genocide, that's true. You know, it's true, you know, he's a elected Prime Minister, and he essentially gave full support to them. Daniel Fuchs says, our entire political and media class are corrupt and sick as fuck. We need a revolution. Okay? Is Zach Polanski going to lead this revolution? is Zara Sultana and the Your Party pronoun army, are they going to lead this revolution? Where is this revolution going to emerge from? Personally, I think that we have a responsibility to circumvent the mainstream media. People moan about the mainstream media. But then you have agents of the alternative media that are just kind of parasites of the mainstream media as well. The bourgeois liberal media class are no use either, you know. They just want a pat on the head. They just want a warm embrace, you know. Most of the middle class academics who move into social commentary or broadcasting or any form of media, they like to appear oppositional, but really what they want is they want brought into the fold. So they want embraced. In fact, I tell you what, I'm going to cover something shortly. I'm going to cover something to do with Scotland. We'll move from this. This is going to trundle on and on. I'm sure this won't be the first time that we're going to be talking about this. People say this, you know, but how are you going to get rid of them? This account says, you know, that Prince Andrew's former girlfriend, Lady Victoria Harvey, says that not being named in the Epstein files would mean you are a loser and that it would be an insult. She claims that in her elite social circle, anyone not mentioned in the Epstein files is viewed insignificant. For Lady Victoria Harvey, child trafficking, child torture and satanic rituals are a normal way of life. I mean, you can get kind of like hyperbolic about it, and do this stuff. The main point about this LBC thing, with this kind of performative setup of this guy who's a non-entity talking to this other non-entity, and then people talking about that's really the issue for me. Somebody said to me earlier, where was it? Down here. What do you mean, bud? Because I quoted this interview with these people, obviously, and saying culture is not your friend. Because this is an example of it. There's nothing to be benefited from this media exchange. It's just a sideshow. You know, it's a stupid side quest in the sort of media pantomime. None of these people are of any important, and so any importance. This conversation has no importance, and we're just if we give this energy, we're elevating it into something more significant than it is. And this is how the media operate. And people need to start to take more control over the media that they consume and the media that they propagate and reproduce and endorse, you know? But I think we have to, there's a question of personal responsibility involved here. You know, something that I've done is I've put myself on the ballot a number of times. And every time I've put myself on the ballot, I've put myself on the ballot with really strong policies, like fundamental policies that everybody can agree with. And then you have people going like, oh, he's not a serious candidate. It's like, if I'm not a serious candidate, what makes these people more serious? The fact that they are completely and utterly corrupted, the fact that they're completely they have a loyal servitude to capital, to their party whip. They're completely compromised. They're careerists. For every single person that votes for a candidate like me or any other independent candidate or candidate that's not part of the mainstream neoliberal party political system, all of those votes mean more than any of the votes that actually go for the party, because those are votes that are definitely for the individual, they're for the person. Whereas 90% of votes for a party politician, most people don't even know who the person is that's representing. Of course, once they get elected, they love to say they've got a mandate and X amount of people voted for them. But the truth is that most people, when they put their X on the party box, they don't even know who their local candidate really is. They don't know anything about them. Peter Obern's book on Gaza seems interesting. Saw David Jameson reviewing it the other day. I'm sure it is very interesting. And I'm sure Jameson will have given it the appropriate appraisal. But again, it's a bit like the middle classes and the academic classes and whatnot. You know, they're good at kind of doing PhDs on events that have already happened. You know, but they're not very good at actually mobilising any kind of like movements in the here and now. And that's really the question that I think we need to be asking ourselves as a wider society. I think when you look at the state of the complicity and the turning a blind eye to horrendous ritualistic paedophiles and corruption at this level, when we also know how difficult it is, you know, in the real world where people are just struggling to get by and then they're forced with all of this to sort of comprehend all of this at the same time. And then, you know, it's like, why would I focus on the James English thing as well? You know, why would I pull James English up for that? Because it was kind of the point. It's like, yeah, perhaps in a period of time like this with genocide and paedophilia and, you know, this horrendous, you know, fracturing of all things, of all, even the pretense of civility. When someone like James English, who has commanded this bizarre kind of platform for kind of like interviewing fucking psychopaths and serial killers, when he eagerly reposts what is essentially a fundamentally racist meme, you know, and people might say, oh, it's innocuous. It's not. It's kind of, it's an example of that. There's no responsibility there, and you know, we have to think about whose bidding is he doing there, you know? At a time where we're seeing an explosion in racism and an explosion of othering and divide and rule. You're just doing the heavy lifting for the right. There's all these other people. Most of these accounts have blocked me. People like Leo Kearse, people like that, you know, repugnant, like quotidian racists, just, you know, private school wankers from like, what's his name? Kearse will be like a Hutchison Academy or something like that, won't he? He'll be a wee private school prick from some privileged place. I think where does Kearse come from? He's definitely a private school fuckwit. He probably try to hide that. He's just a snooty little racist. I would love to give him a slap, like, you know what I mean? I've said it before. He blocked me a long time ago. And that's why you get these wankers like Wings and all the rest of it. They're trying to run behind this thing and like curry this notion of like, you know, the jump on the right bandwagon because they think it's got energy, you know. Ultimately, it's just about racism, and it's, you know, you can't deny it. It's about white supremacy. You can't have a genocide. You can't have an active genocide at this level in our culture. Beldam says that question was being asked by Marx, and I guess we don't have a solid answer. No, but we do. We can't understand what's occurred. You know, when we go on about, or I go on about, or certain people go on about, when we talk about Fisher's whole theory about, or well, you know, very plausible observation that the neoliberal project is primarily a project of consciousness suppression, and fundamentally, you know, all forms of consciousness essentially. All forms of emancipatory, liberated consciousness. It's definitely not. It's not interested in anybody developing any liberated form of consciousness. But fundamentally, it's about the suppression of class consciousness because it must subjugate class, and it must obscure class in order to maintain power. So somebody like James English, who actually comes from a working class background, you know, he's a class traitor. By reinforcing right-wing narratives like that, he's a class traitor. But he's not class conscious, he's just a moron, you know? Bojaws McGlinty says, saw Leo Kearse promoting hair plugs. He went to Turkey and paid for a squint hairline. Genuinely thought it was a gag to begin with. Well, there we go. So he's an egotist as well. I'll be back. I'll be back shortly. Didn't go anywhere. I'll do it if you want. I'm not bothered. Nah, stay where you are. I'll see you back here shortly.
We make the best weapons in the world, and we've got a lot of them, and we've given a lot to Israel, frankly. You used them well. It also takes people that know how to use them, and you obviously used them very well. But so many that Israel became strong and powerful, which ultimately led to peace. The world is loving Israel again, and I said to people, you know, the world is big and it's strong. But there was getting to be a period of time over the last few months, you know, the world wanted peace and Israel wanted peace. Everybody did. Everybody did. And what a victory it's been, right? What a victory it's been. If you would have gone on for 3-4 more years, keep fighting, it was getting bad. It was getting heated. The timing of this is brilliant. And I said, Bibi, you're going to be remembered for this far more than if you kept this thing going.
Oh, so you name the devil. All right, bad man. Suck your man. Bad man for you. Bad man for who? Go down and ground, devil. Bad man for you. Me not something there. Because you know if you beat the devil. Because beat him again, because you can't let the devil ever get in your mind. Beat the devil. Beat him. Beat him until he make him understand himself. If you don't understand, get up. 6 o'clock, pussy. Get up. But bad man. Stop your man. Don't take up the clothes on my t-shirt. That's him, man, you know. Get up. I tell you if I put on people clothes, you never hear a message stop. Take up my bum buckler. Take up.
And now here we go.
I swear to God, I'm an animal. My razor jaw will slash your move. I'm out in front, you're back to wall. Lots to learn, go back to school. You know me, on the track, I bring the light, no back to black. Catalogue, fully stacked, boom, rap or rapid track. I slay a dragon in front of your face, just to remind you which one is your place. I give you memories you'd like to erase. Bored since I caught you cause I like the chase. Surrounded by chaos cause I like the taste.
Right, I'm still here. Gene Freeman has passed away. This guy's a right teapot, eh? He's an absolute tool. He's he kind of wants to be Leo Kearse, doesn't he? Yeah, what was the Craig Murray thing I wanted to look at? They want to have a go at Craig Murray What's this? Morgan McSweeney is our Rasputin. He must have a file on Starmer. How else to explain why he hasn't been sacked already? What happened to the 2 Ukrainian rent boys? The usual gaggle of performing seals, otherwise known as Britain's political press, are asking every question on this scandal, apart from the ones that really matter. I call bullshit. Starmer is a wrong-un who has surrounded himself with the same. George Galloway. Now 5 Ukrainian rent boys. 5 Ukrainian rent boys, eh? What a time to be alive. Okay, so
live and direct, live and I take no time.
Fiona Lally. This is this communist girl. She talks a good game. She talks a good game. It is that thing. Here's, let's see what she's saying here. It is that thing where she's like, you know, the anointed middle class conduit to the lower, to the language of emancipation that has been stolen from the working classes as they used to study Marx with candlelight, the miners that would read Marx with candlelight. Let's see what she's saying, let's see what she's saying, you know? She's very intelligent, she's a very clever girl. I appreciate that, it sounded rather condescending. I didn't mean it that way, right? Let's see what she says.
Such a close relation. We need to make some serious points about the connections between Keir Starmer, Peter Mandelson and Jeffrey Epstein. The point is British capitalism and British imperialism needs the USA, and they will do anything it takes. They will collude with anyone they need to if it brings them closer to the White House. They want that relationship. They need it for military reasons, for security reasons, and for economic reasons. Peter Mandelson was the perfect man for that because of the world that he operated in. Keir Starmer didn't hire him in spite of his connections. It was because of them. Even though Keir Starmer knew in advance of hiring Peter Mandelson that he had such a close relationship with this billionaire paedophile. But that...
Great, he's the man for the job.
Child sexual abuse, Keir Starmer was willing to overlook if that man was going to bring him closer to the general needs of British capitalism and British imperialism. And that means, above all else, as close a relationship as possible with Trump. That's what Starmer has been pushing for. That's how we have to understand this. Keir Starmer didn't care about the victims then, and he doesn't care about the victims now. These people are hypocrites, right? They've been whipping up a culture war, talking about the dangers of immigrant men, how can we keep women and children safe in this country? Meanwhile, these are the people that the British establishment is in cahoots with, or these are the things that the British establishment is willing to overlook so long as it can secure them their profits. At the end of the day, the British establishment is the biggest grooming gang in Britain. They are monsters, they are criminals, and we will take no lectures in morality from them on that basis. We know what this represents. It represents the rottenness of the whole billionaire Epstein class, and all of them have to be overthrown.
Here.
Make some serious points.
I told you, she's good. Right, she might be a nice young middle class university type person, but that's no reason to be prejudiced against her. She's talking facts. She's spitting bars, as they say. Right, let me move to This was it. Let's go to Scottish affairs. Martin Geisler. Now Martin Geisler, right? Previously, a couple of years ago, I had a pop at Gordon Smart, who's that kind of like sandwich board, kind of Rupert Murdoch sandwich board guy that goes around. He's a sort of like shite John Leslie, like a sort of Grant Stott type guy. Grant Stott and John Leslie are more talented than him. He's just like a gopher, gimp guy. He goes around, you know the guy I mean, like, you know, he's got all that sort of affected Hibs fucking shite that he puts on himself and that as well. But he's like the celebrity guy, right? He wrote the celebrity column on for the Sun for a long time. And then when Russell Brand was in the frame, you know, when he's like, and I mean he's binned it obviously anyway, but Gordon Smart was Russell Brand's mate, right? And they used to go out fucking probably on the Hoover and the whole bit, you know. They definitely had a close association for a long time, and Smart obviously worked for Rupert Murdoch, you know. And then when Brand got outed in this kind of whole thing with the allegations and everything, like a couple of years ago, Smart was like right in there flinging him under the bus, and I had a pop at him online, you know, more about just how he was like parroting Murdoch, kind of, you know, he'd been you know, filleting Murdoch's fucking wrinkled welt for a long time. And anyway, Geisler, I slagged off Gordon Smart. I mean, this is like the playground politics of Twitter, right? I slagged off Smart, and then Geisler jumped up, right, and started saying stuff about me. Lies, right? Geisler told a bunch of lies about me online. And I remember saying at the time, right, or going like, you know, apart from the fact he's a jambo, right, which is like reason enough, like fucking what? A Watsonian jambo, that's what he is, right? But Geisler goes, so that's what I'm saying. So like at the time I was like, it felt a bit like Peter Sissons was like having a poppy, because he's like the news guy, right? He's like the guy on the news. But Geisler got himself in a bit of an argument online the other day, and I thought it was quite interesting because I thought it exposed something more about the nature of contemporary media. Now, Geisler started to have took umbrage with this account, this kind of notorious account online. And if you're aware of the sort of parochial landscape of Scottish online discourse, Scottish political discourse on X, you know, I don't know if the sort of media class and the Scottish middle class, you know, commentariat and the political class are aware of this, but this whole realm, whether it's Geisler, whether it's even BBC official productions, or whether it's online kind of political discourse or otherwise, or whether it's just the general, you know, toing and froing on X between the media class and the political class, it's an ever-decreasing amount, you know. It's a very small section of Scottish culture that now actually participates in this. We're kind of doing it for entertainment purposes. But you know, it's a very small landscape these days. Most people, voters and whatnot, are on other platforms, primarily TikTok. TikTok is essentially where everybody is now, you know. That TikTok is where Reform are making huge gains, because the rest of the media class, the political class, they can't engage with TikTok. TikTok's too raw. If you try, you can't compose a long-winded, you know, piece of considered opinion or kind of contrived perspective on TikTok. You've just got to stick your face on the camera and say stuff. The media class, the political class can't do that. They've got to hide behind their kind of like, you know, big, long, kind of winded, this is what happened and now I'm saying this, you know what I mean? It takes them fucking 4 hours to compose while they're on the fucking toilet or something, you know? Anyway, Geisler was responding to this mainstream media monitor account, which I said the other week that it was run by Ross Calhoun. I have no evidence to make that claim, really. But I'm making that claim, and even if it's not run by Ross Calhoun, I'd like people to think that it was. So that's basically my position on that. Mainstream monitor. BBC Scotland boasted recently that UK government ministers are now appearing more for interviews on BBC Scotland, and they are. What they didn't say was that the appearances are used to push an announcement or policy spun as positive for Scotland. They aren't being grilled on anything. And Geisler says, this account has blocked me, so I can't tweet them direct. But like so much of their output, I'm not having this. Go back and listen to this morning's interview and tell me they get a free ride. Stop peddling nonsense. And then, this was like a few days after or whatever, the same account, right? Scottcast, which is Martin Geisler's sort of like mainstream podcast, is basically BBC Scotland canteen chat turned into a cheap programme. I mean, there's probably a bit of truth in that. It's like, what else could it possibly be? It's a production on BBC Scotland at Pacific Quay. John Cowan's, there's an intervention from John Cowan here. I'll copy it and paste it into. See, we do have a couple of honorary Jambos and Huns as well that join us for What the X. And John Cowan says this. He says, didn't he try and chuck Geisler in with us? He's a private school rugby helmet. It would be wrong for me not to just bring that into the conversation, you know, considering. Anyway, he says, it reflects BBC Scotland news narratives because the participants have pushed those narratives all week. The best BBC Scotland analysis programme was the Media Review, which was axed because it challenged those narratives and sometimes exposed them as fake, right? Well, I don't remember that programme. But Geisler, again, indignant, incensed. No, it isn't. No, it doesn't. No, it wasn't. So he's saying it isn't basically BBC Scotland canteen chat. He says it doesn't reflect BBC Scotland news. He says that other programme wasn't that great either. There's so many reasons. We don't really have time to get into this just now. Our podcast discusses views from all angles and invites guests to help us understand them and their positions, as it should do. We are proud of our work, as we should be. Okay, what is significant about this exchange then? Why have I decided to cover it on my fabulous, independent, fully autonomous What the X live stream, internet live stream, which you can donate to by clicking our Ko-fi. Where is our Ko-fi? If you click the top of the chat, you can donate to Discontent. I'm trying to click it. What have I done? You can donate to Discontent. Make sure you do if you can, if you haven't already, if you're able to. And subscribe to our YouTube channel and socials. Right, why is it significant that Martin Geisler and this guy are having this to and fro in, right? It's significant because it's taking place on X. It's taking place on Twitter. And Geisler is attempting to basically assert kind of some sort of superiority as a result of his position as what he perceives himself to be as a professional journalist. So Geisler is saying, I'm a professional journalist, a salaried journalist at the BBC, and we have a professional production here that has integrity, and who are you to question that? But he's not saying that on the BBC, and he's not saying that on some BBC forum or something like that. He's saying it on X, which means that Geisler believes that when he comes onto X, he commands a greater degree of professional authority than anybody else on X, and that he should be afforded a greater degree of respect on X. And this is simply not true. There's no truth to this whatsoever. It falls apart with the most simple analysis. He also is inferring somehow that the BBC is also some grand bastion of integrity that needs to be respected. And this mainstream monitor account, as much as I think it's a teapot account at times, it's as entitled to an opinion on X as Geisler is. There's no difference. Once you come onto this platform, you're about. This is a private. This is a social media platform owned by a mental US billionaire. It's essentially a private platform in that sense, you know. And so Geisler's authority, he has no authority here, neither on the platform itself or in other forms. So a wee bit scrutiny of this exchange reveals where we are at in our contemporary media landscape. Fewer and fewer people actually bother to watch anything on the BBC. The BBC as a wider institution is complicit in the genocide. When it comes to questions of Scottish sovereignty or Scottish independence or Scottish media, it's filthy, it's rotten to the core. Anybody who was around during the referendum period, you know, regardless of where our politics currently sit now, we know how the BBC operated. We saw it firsthand. So defending the BBC, or therefore even defending the controlled narratives that are on it. For example, is Geisler going to be able to interrogate any of his political guests about the nature of neoliberalism? Is he ever going to ask questions about the fundamentals of capitalism, about the political economic system which these political parties operate under? Is he ever going to make probing questions about that? Is he ever going to make really deep probing questions about the genocide? Is he going to be allowed to talk about the genocide on the BBC? Geisler is immediately constrained by innumerable different factors when he goes on the BBC. So his freedom to report freely is compromised on the BBC, in my opinion. But it's worth thinking about. It's worth thinking about what this exchange means. Geisler is incensed and irritated, and it's that irritation that's the kind of giveaway. Geisler has a sense of entitlement. Geisler has a sense of entitlement about who he is as a journalist, whether that's because he's doing a programme on the BBC, or whether that's because when he comes onto X or Twitter to express his opinion. And my position is that he has no right to that entitlement, in my opinion. Certainly not on X. Not at all. But you know, what do you think? Apart from him being a rugby school helmet. This is a good point. If Geisler discusses views from all angles, he should have Bob on. And it's a good point, and I think it's an important point to make. Geisler was happy to denigrate me and lie about me. He's also talking about integrity. Martin Geisler came onto the biggest social media platform in the land and told explicit lies about me, about who I am, where I come from, where I went to school, things like that. Complete lies. Not a fucking bean of truth. And he's supposed to be a journalist of note. He also follows me on all my social media, and he often looks at my social media. I often see he's often looked at my stories, and so it's a good point. What is it? And I've seen him invite many other people from the world of social media to have a discussion. What is it about Bob that he finds so difficult to engage with? But it's a good point, as Arpignon points out there. So many reasons. What are you talking about? Are you a jambo? We've got groins as a butt hurt jambo. What are you talking about, man? I'm fucking heavy, right? You know what I mean? It's like you're meant to hate the hearts, right? You sound very fond of food. I think we've got some real fucking. Just didn't appreciate Peter Sissons talking shit about me. Craig Murray has invoked the wrath of the pro-Israel genocide apologists. Now, Craig Murray said that the police officer, this was the Palestine, so the Palestine Action miscreants that went and smashed up the equipment in that factory, more power to them, were the jury found them not guilty, right? And this isn't good enough, right? This isn't good enough for the crusaders of righteousness, you know. And Murray made the claim that the police officer's spine was not fractured. And this was the language that had been used about it was exaggerated, right? So it was a kind of exaggerated idea of what had occurred there. And the sort of right-wingers all got angry with him. Hayden Hewitt blocked me a long time ago. He can't handle it. And I'll tell you why Hayden Hewitt blocked me, right? This is what I believe, right? I believe that Hayden Hewitt is one of the first people who commanded a social media or a kind of who profited from the sort of the darker world of the internet, rather. Hayden Hewitt is the guy behind LiveLeak and originally Ogreish. And I believe that Hayden Hewitt was one of the first people to be compromised by Israel in some way or other. I think Hayden Hewitt got kind of Hewitt was the guy that unashamedly published all material on LiveLeak. Remember the guy that got decapitated? What was his name again? James, the American, the guy, I can't remember his name. But Hayden Hewitt published all of that stuff on LiveLeak. And then they shut LiveLeak down. Groins. The jury should be prosecuted, right? They bother me, aye. Them getting off with it, a disgrace. Were you Daniel Pearl? I think it was. Was it Daniel Pearl? There was another. There was James Foley as well. Was that not another one? James Foley. But Daniel Pearl, I think maybe was the original one. Anyway, I think Hewitt. I've always had this suspicion, and I had a pop at him when the genocide first started kicking off, and I said something to him, and he just blocked me. I had a wee pop at him about it. Anyway, it's funny how they like to have a pop at folk that they can have a pop at, but they block anyone that might say something that causes them a wee bit unease, like, you know. Foley, yeah. What do you make of them getting off with it? Absolute disgrace. Jury should also be prosecuted. They bother me. It's like, let's ask Groins, like, what do you think of theocracies? Because it sounds like that's the type. It sounds like that's the sort of system you think that we should be living under. Another insane body cam video from the Fulton 6 trial shows the violent EBIT securities guards at work. This one shows guard Angelo Volante brandishing a sledgehammer, repeatedly screaming at acquitted defendants Fatima, Zainab, Rawini and Charlotte Head to get the fuck down, even after they had already complied with police instructions. The pair are holding their hands up quietly and posing no threat. One of the security guards was chasing after them with a whip, like something out of Indiana Jones. That was pretty wild, I have to say. Let's have a look. Let's not. Can we not have an audio warning on these things? I don't understand how you can't condemn what they did. Trying to understand, why don't you ask the jury? It was a jury trial, and the jury acquitted them, right? So what's your problem? Were you at the trial? No, you weren't at the trial, right? So you obviously never heard all of the evidence. You never saw all of the evidence. All you've seen is manipulated clips that have been put online. That's all you've seen. That's all that you know about it, right? And now after the trial, there's a whole bunch of other clips that are beginning to emerge where they're getting chased around the factory with some guy with a whip, right? So there's more to it, okay? Aye, right. I'm sorry. I never knew. I just clicked it in. It went pure loud and that. Like it wasn't my fault. I do apologise. I'm trying to see where he was arguing. Oh, here he is. Here. She didn't fall off a. Here he is. The incel, the raging fucking mentalist of Bath. She didn't fall. It was like he was going like, you know, her spine was not fractured. There was no damage to the spinal cord. There was a possible hairline fracture to one wing of a vertebrae, described as a common injury from falling off a bicycle. She didn't fall off a fucking bike though, did she? Some little piece of shit hit her with a sledgehammer. Then Craig Murray says to the incel, no, he didn't. Unlike you, I was in court and heard some of the actual evidence. The jury had a great deal more video than the deliberately selected and edited clip the police issued to prejudice the trial, and heard eyewitnesses. Juries are good. And it's still not enough for him, is it? Like, you know? So I guess the question is, like, you know, are juries good? Right. So they break in to cause criminal damage, and because they got chased by a security guard, they should be acquitted. Well, what actually happened? You seem to have missed the part where there was a trial, and then the evidence was presented to the jury from both sides, and then the jury went at the end of the trial went, "You're acquitted," right? What part of that, Groins? What part of that is it that you're struggling to grasp? Like what? Right, we need to. I'm going to take you to court. Right, cool. We went to court. What happened? We let off, acquitted. Fucking hell. Gosh. I'll be back again in a moment. stay with her.
Ken what? You can't, it's true, you can't judge a place by its reputation. I like it doing this neck of the woods, So I was just in Farm Foods grabbing some eggs, and a guy cut in front of me in the queue. I goes, I'm in the queue, and he was like, oh, sorry mate. So he jumped behind us, and then I was struggling with my eggs, I about dropped them. He gave us a wee hand putting them down. Saying, Lone Heed, you didn't get shit like that. I should have told you, well, I'm in front of you now, but I would have just fucking left you to struggle with your eggs, you know what I mean? Fuck you and your fucking eggs. I quite like it, didn't I, Dre? I think I might move here. Come on! Do my fucking 30 eggs.
The problem with the UK, in my opinion, is this. A child is swept out to sea. A baby, 7 years of age, probably drown, hoping that she's not, but it's not looking good. The headlines show this picture, young British girl, swept out to sea, and the comments. A 7-year-old child might be dead, might have drowned. Any idea what that would be like for the kids to go through, for the family? And you've got people with the comments. British, question mark. If the first thing that comes to your mind upon reading a child might be dead is she's not British, you need to look deep within, because you are scum of the earth. You are scum of the earth. The amount of laughing emojis on this post is alarming. Surely this is the problem with this country, that you could laugh at something like this. Women, mothers. I've checked the profiles, they are mothers. Can you imagine if your child drowns and we all laugh? Could you imagine? This is how much you are disconnected from life, from love. This is how much Muslims are demonised to you. She's a baby. Take off a hijab, change the colour of her skin, say she's a Christian, and you'll cry. Does that not alarm you? Does it not alarm you? She's a human being. You are scumbags. All of you shitbags, scum of the earth. Can you imagine if this was a little white girl? It would be horrific, just as horrific. Would you be laughing? No, you wouldn't, because you are scum. This is the problem of today. No empathy. We demonise, marginalise communities. You are brainwashed into thinking that these people are not human. A 7-year-old child, 7 years of age. You are disgusting.
هدنة خد لك شوف هالصدفة ما حدش ضل في غزة صواريخ نازلة بتضربهن هدنة هيجاتني بالغربة عايشين 5 بغرفة خد لك شوف هالصدفة.
Our statement to the neoliberal order should be one of abject rejection. We must reject the contemporary party political class in all forms, at the local, regional, and national levels, and kick the structure right at the base. Right at the base. Right at the base. Right at the base. We must reject the contemporary party political class in all forms, at the local, regional, and national levels. The critic who cannot name empire is already employed by it.
I'm still here. So it's the Derby, what, on Monday, 8 o'clock. Come on, is nobody going to hit that coffee button today? Who takes a whip to work? Aye, pieces, coffee, fuck. I forgot my whip. What's the story with the Derby? Seeing as there's some football chat going on. It's that tiny, so what do we think? That Tom Nestor, I'll play that in a second. I'll play it another time. I've retweeted it already. He's funny. He kind of nails the whole wings chat thing in that. I was trying to find where I put my Hibs thing the other week there. I know that some people find my scrolling a bit kind of like, what you doing? What you just scrolling for? Because I'm looking for something, right? And that's what we do when we're looking for something. I can't remember what it was. I thought it was... because it went unnoticed. I didn't realise it was this far back. The moment's gone. Christ. Right, I've lost my marbles. It just shows me how much nonsense we post into the intersphere. Fucking hell. What are we going to do about it then? What are we going to do about our society? Oh, here it is, here. No bother, Kit Kats. Tuesday. Is Tuesday not the 10th? Is Monday not the 10th? Tuesday. No. I've got my dates mixed up, eh? Tuesday then. So this was like, this guy, what is it? Hibernian Retro, he posted this clip, right? He posted this clip of the famous five. This AI clip, you know? And everybody slagged him for it. Well, not everybody, but a lot of people were giving him abuse for it, and I thought it was a bit mean because I was like, it's just like it's like a fan account, right? You know, it's a wee. I think because Grant Stott had retweeted it and said it was great. So I many years ago I wrote a Hibs song. I wrote and recorded a Hibs song with my mate Marty Watt, and I got my mate Marty Watt to sing it, and I put the old Hibs song that I wrote onto the famous five footage.
And seasons change.
And they've sold it.
Smith, Johnston, and Turnbull, Ormond and Riley. Though I never saw them, I feel them beside me.
Look at that.
As I gaze from this old stand.
Look at this. This is a motive Hibs content.
Before me, place dreams in your hands. So I say on with the high beats, wherever I am. Be it rich man or poor man, united we stand. For we revel in glory, smile at defeat. Cause if you know your history, you'll always believe. Now people come and go, and seasons change, but it's so good to know this feeling stays the same. And if you should fail, be and I'll hold my head up high and stand by you.
EastEnders.
Smith, Johnston and Turnbull, Ormond and Riley. Though I never saw them, I feel them beside me as I gaze from this old stand, as many a man has done here before me. Place dreams in your hands. Oh, Smith, Johnston and Turnbull, Ormond and Riley. Though I never saw them, I feel them beside me. Yeah, that famous five bestowed the faith in me that if you know your history, you'll always believe. Oh yeah, that famous five bestowed the faith in me that if you know your history, you'll always believe.
There we go, fucking hell.
And one of the lines.
They did actually, they did play it. They did play it at Easter Road about 20 years ago when we done it. But obviously, it's not quite a patch on Sunshine and Leaf. But it was a wee poignant moment of Hibs appreciation. He got pissy with me because I admired the hot rock burns and Sawsy's journey. It's a genuine appreciation. Says Beldam. Right, what do we think the score's going to be? My ears were weeping blood. I know it'll never come up. This song is banned from our open mic nights. I played it on the Hibs bus once, and the driver kept playing it on repeat, and by the end of it, everyone was like, "Get that fucking off! Get that off the CD player!" What am I looking for here? I'm looking for my bookmarks. So what are we going to do in Scotland? Because our election is coming up. There's a plethora of would-be politicians, candidates. There's a plethora of candidates, and they're all making the same videos. What's this guy, Russell Finlay? What's he saying?
Criminal courts. It's where sentences are passed. This is one of Scotland's busiest criminal courts. It's where sentences are passed by independent judges on criminals. They assess the facts of each case, including the impact on victims. But here at the Scottish Parliament, John Swinney's SNP Justice Secretary is trashing judicial independence. She has overruled thousands of their carefully considered sentences to free criminals early. She now wants to free criminals automatically after serving just 30% of their sentence. That means a violent thug jailed for 4 years would only do 14 months behind bars. Many of the criminals released early commit more crimes. This is a major scandal created by the SNP. They failed to build new prisons on time, and they failed to provide alternatives to custody. Judicial independence has been completely trashed, and it's victims who are paying the price.
Right, well, we know if we vote for the Scottish Conservative and Unionist Party, then they're going to be tougher on crime, tougher on the causes of crime.
Get why, but them no, them man, why,
Bojoz McGlinty says, I will be voting for whoever is most likely to harm the SNP. Literally don't care who it is. Doesn't make any difference. Just want them out. Time's up. Well, I mean, my perspective on it is that if there's not a candidate that aligns with your values, which we could only, I think we need system change. I think we need system change. We need socialists, people who are committed socialists. And I have even said, like, communists as well, That's what I was saying about, like, somebody like Geisler or whatever. Do they ever get the political class in? Do they ever get the contemporary political class? In fact, I tell you, Jim Slavin wrote a fantastic article the other day. So go and check out Jim Slavin's article. I think I posted it. He made some great points in his article about the nature of the contemporary political class, and I think this is the point that, when, as respect to Bojoz there, you would only get that on What the X. You don't get that on Scottcast, will you? Respect to Bojoz. Respect to Bojoz McGlinty there, with all due respect to the opinion of Bojoz McGlinty. The neoliberal party political class are all the same. Once we kind of strip it down to, once they're actually in power, they operate kind of in collective interests, And yes, it's easy to go, the SNP, we can hammer them for this, but it's different iterations. It's basically just a different version of the same system, whoever it is that we put in there. So long as it's party politics of these contemporary party political, these machines, That's why I advocate spoiling the ballot as well, because the system, the process is so redundant that an active campaign, if everybody registered to vote, and everybody that registered to vote also just went and drew a big cock and bollocks on the ballot, I think that has an important statement as well. But I think there needs to be a sort of symbolic statement, essentially. And we really only have two choices, because we live under capitalism. And those that have chosen to, we see how capital corrupts. And this isn't me advocating for communism or anythingism really, but it's just a case of going, like, at this stage where we've surrendered everything to the market, and as that wonderful Doctor of Pop Culture account was making out, was explaining, the psychological impact of this on us as a people, what it's doing to us collectively as a society, how it's splitting us apart, how it's exploiting everybody. I mean, we can all agree, right? If there's one thing that we can all agree on, whether we're a Muslim, whether we're black, whether we're white, whether we're whatever, unless you occupy a particularly small strata of society, we are all getting ripped off. So we immediately have something in common. We're economically united and we're ideologically divided. And those that seek to ideologically divide us are the same people that are in power right now. And even if that's a subtle power, even if that's so-called kind of centrist, kind of liberal iterations of it, where they want to make out that, in many respects, they're even worse. That's the notion of Malcolm X as foxing the liberal. So I think that we need to be thinking about the system, and we can't just defer to the existing party political system. It doesn't. The satisfaction. Okay, there's that momentary satisfaction, which is the pantomime of going, yes, take that, you've lost your seat, and you get to see some twat crestfallen and, you know, reduced to misery because they've spent the previous 6 weeks turning up at people's doors, smiling like a twat and handing them a leaflet that they're never going to be able to fucking... They're never going to be able to fulfill any of the claims made on it, you know? And that's it, that's it, and then it's replaced by some other dickhead. So I don't know whether or not, you know, you vote for somebody who's most likely, which political party is most likely to remove the political party that you don't like. Okay, if that's the game, that's the game. We've all participated in it, but I believe that we need to be thinking about something different now. We really are in crisis as a society and a culture. It's a very depressing state to be in. And none of these political class parties are going to do anything about it. This was Jim Slavin's article, which I'll retweet again. It's favourite in one tweet there, where he makes a statement within it saying, no, the political class do not excel at moral philosophy or political theory or history. Professional politics is a career choice for people who like process. That was just a quote from his essay. But I would advise people to follow Jim if you don't already do so. Read his essay. It's a great piece. Article. But I understand people are sick of the SNP, and rightfully so. They've lied to the country continually. They've fumbled the ball, but they've done that deliberately as well. They weren't really ever in any interest in delivering these things that they claim to be. We've been through this a million times. Okay, I'll be back again shortly before we wind up for the day.
Why do you think that so many people are negative about the rap scene in Scotland?
So I think like people just think of it as like a gimmick. Like you've seen like the Wee Man and stuff before as well. So I think like people see that and then they just think it's like a gimmick. Think that it's just a wee Ned rap, you know what I mean? And it's just a bunch of wee guys that's trying to rap. But when you listen to half of these people's music, it's real stuff coming through the schemes, and that's what we're doing with Scheme Hang. That's what I'm doing with my album and stuff like that, reflecting how we live in the schemes. I've got a new video out called All or Nothing, and that's what I'm reflecting in all my videos and all my music, is the real part of Scotland and know the gimmicky side.
Why do you think it's important for these young people in the schemes that you grew up in, like for them to hear this?
Yeah, I think it's important for them to hear it because it shows them another way of life, and I think it's important for them to write and put their emotions into lyrics because it's a positive way to be doing it, where you could be out here holding all your emotion in. Maybe you're taking it out on somebody you see in the street, or you're fighting with people, but instead you're actually putting your emotions into music, and it's a good way that you can process your emotions. After you've made the song, you kind of sit back and you're like, maybe that's why I've made that, maybe I was angry at the time or emotional and stuff like that. So I think it's a good way for people to express their emotions through music instead of taking it out on anything else.
That's amazing. If you could say anything to the Scottish people about supporting Scottish rap, please tell me what it would be.
So I just encourage people to like support your local artists, anybody that's doing it. It takes a lot to get out in the street and rap, or it takes a lot of time to write these lyrics, record it, mix and master it and produce it. So just support your local scene, and that doesn't necessarily mean money all the time. You could just be sharing them, maybe coming to their gigs to document the stuff that they're doing and putting it out there and giving it a platform. So I just encourage the Scottish people that sees this stuff is to encourage people and be more positive towards it instead of just trying to bring it down, because I think here in Scotland we have that hang, the Scottish cringe, and
certainly do.
You know what I mean? We're all, even in Ireland as well, like people are like, that's
you get
cringy.
It everywhere. You get it everywhere, but it is mainly in the UK. I'll give you that one.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
have you visited Châtellerault? It's not in France, it's in Hamilton. But why does it sound so French? What's happening, people? We're in Hamilton today and we're at Châtellerault. Now, a lot of people think this is where the Duke of Hamilton lived, but it is not. This was the entrance to power, not the centre of it. This here was actually a hunting lodge and stables. Now, if this is the outbuilding, you can only imagine what the palace looked like. This was built in the 1730s for the Duke of Hamilton to house his horses, his equipment and his staff for going out on his hunts. The horses held in here were elite hunting horses and elite carriage horses, often held in higher regard than the staff themselves. Some of these horses had dedicated grooms, strict diets and even heated stalls, whilst the staff lived in basic housing. Some of them would never even have seen the inside of this Grand Lodge behind me. This wasn't cruelty, it was hierarchy defined by boundaries. In the 1500s, the Duke of Hamilton was gave a dukedom by a French king. This made him the Duke of Châtellerault. This dukedom didn't last long at all, and by the 1730s, this was long gone. But the Hamiltons still decided to call this Châtellerault as a show of international power and force. This lodge is the first thing you would see as you entered the estate, and it tells you exactly how the Hamiltons wanted to be viewed. You didn't just wander through this estate, you were guided, and at the end of this tour was one of the grandest houses in the full of Europe, Hamilton Palace. So there you have it, people. The name's French, the building's Scottish, but the message, as always, is power.
Lord, set me apart for the next guy. Every time I'm running with the ball, these legs fly. Sitting with a plateful, feeling I'm ungrateful. Better thank God that my bed's on my head lies. Picking up my cross, better pull up my socks. Better swing another rock when a Philistine talks. To the end of the earth, we can never be stopped. I'm staying true to the guillotine drops. On my head like Aberdeen caps. See red misled, or I could have been trapped instead. To the bottom this earth like Sodom and Gomorrah. But I'll drop these flames in their head. As far as the east goes, far from the west. Any mark of the beast that will never get me pressed. That spirit from above stays dropping in my chest. Stay true to the end, don't feast with the rest. This valley that I walk down's gonna be a lonely road, look it's locked down. Set my eyes on the pub in the small ground, team this family, I'm never gonna stop now. Need to watch how I walk in the surf, how I talk in the verse, cause you can't put the clock in the verse. And I don't want a Grammy, don't stop, cause I can't make a change when I'm stuck in a hearse.
The artists that don't go through nervous breakdown, I don't trust them. I don't think I even like them. They are no good. They are too square, too normal. For an artist to be normal, is a disaster.
Yeah, look, I'm a man of my business, but like my pleasure. Came back being big boy moves. Scheme boy straight for the concrete jungle. I know how we date, they love for the screws. Jump in the booth for the scheme boy lingo, burning that grind, you know how we do. Always stay true, always stay clued up. No, I came for the dub, but I'm still brand new. Those fresh one test, so I step, I'm fresh, I'm blessed, I'm still here stoned. Putting that graft, I'm best of the best, I'm up for the West, but still my tone since 2016. I've been shutting down shows, but still on the road, still answering phones. Try to make money, that paper flavours, weighed up, labelled, bagged and sold. Let's go, let me jump on a beat, I like that, brother, my bass, that bounce, I like when the beat gets dirty, it's dirty, so trust me, I'm ready to rep my sound, I rep for the north and the east and the west, and I rep for the rest of the shit goes south, stay low to the death, I'm ready to set, play bouncy beat, and let's fucking bounce, let's party, put the patsy suit on that table, no I'm here for a fucking mad one, drink till I'm fucked till my legs unstable, gonna tunes up full blast stable, something that I rave like gas gone mental, bouncing a beat, boost, match that tempo, sun comes up, we're still going strong.
Right, well we have reached the end of our Saturday morning meander through the realms of social decay, social mania. If anyone's got any last requests, put them in now, or wants to ask a specific question, or pick mind brains on any particular matter, now is your chance, or forever hold your peace until the next time that I return. Folk need to snap out the SNP spell. I don't think folk are going to get any further forward until they do. Fair enough, I think that's a fair comment. So what we're saying is Starmer going to be gone by next week? Or is Starmer going to hang on in there? Or are we going to be faced with a torrent, a new deluge of exposés? Who knows? It's certainly a weird time. Mark Black, James English parody to see us out. Nice show, Bob. I can't draw that to hand right now. It is great though. I will play it. I believe that next week may be the first week that we have a guest joining us. So you will not have to just suffer my pus slavering on, skimming through the detritus of social media. And we'll be setting the precedent for Bojo's asks me what I'm having for tea. Might be pasta this evening, I have to say. I don't believe you're interested. I don't believe you really are interested. But yes, we are trying to put in place the infrastructure that will allow us to not make it all about me, eh? It's not just all about me. Right, I'm going to leave yous. It's 4 minutes to 1. I've enjoyed this morning. Thanks for everybody that's joined us as always. It's been as much my pleasure as I hope it's been yours. And I hope you have a great weekend. And I hope that on Tuesday, obviously, we beat the Hearts, but who knows. I'm going to bounce out today with a big tune from Lady Leisure. It's called Skunt. I'll catch you later. Ciao.
Money off you make. Skunt. With the bong 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 bang. Inna me food boo boo, me cutie cute. You say everything twist no all the ooh. The way me whine and twist like Bobby's tube. I got the man like Scooby Doo. Which girl want test no voodoo do? I hit him like doo doo doo. Your daughter too. Going down like waterfall in Portugal. Shut your mouth and talk the truth. But hope us go. Smell it on, do not carry on. Oh me have to put the belly on, like me daddy on. I know me not have no animal city girl alone. Not the princess in the passenger. She valley on, she a stallion. The girl kitty shun. So what you that do? It's in the DNA, run through the vessel. They can't teeth up the style in bezel. That a girl wash out the gums with that on. Neck break up, she head bust up. Her legs be cut, she medical. The breast be cut, identical. Totos, let me cook no vegetable. Me edible, me sweet like candy. Your head no good, the Peter Pan face. Me beat it up, she need a band-aid. Them idiots come beat the girl. Wait, that be batty girl. Oh, what you there though? Please don't get do 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 do. Me have to hit him like do 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 do. And leave gal in the do 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 do. Long batty gal. Oh, what you there though? What you there? Please don't get do 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 do. Me come through like do 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 do. And leave gal in the do 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 do. Me broken down, they really did them. They really did them. Them over girl, I've been the victim. I'm gonna wash like this shit up, be in the kitchen. But tell them stop. Breaks, intermission. I be the villain. They didn't want to see me return. I feel the prison. Me bring the vibes, they hit the drum. They don't know the ball slap, they be hitting the front. And in addition, they acting like they beat the return.
The kind of idiots cannot compete with us. I'm being serious, the devious, and now the tedious. A little devious, she feverish, she moving evilish, and that's some period. There's bacteria, when the TV
superior. I do it bigger, never smaller media. Familiar, check Wikipedia, says I'm the real girl, the media. Where you see me now, just like a TV at immediate. With a brown skin, team sepia. That be batty girl. Oh, what you there though? Please don't get do 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 do. Me have to hit him like do 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 do. And leave gal in the do 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 do. Long batty girl. Oh, what you there though? What you there? Please don't get do 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 do. Me come through like do 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 do. And leave gal in the do 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 do.